Check out those roadways. It's cold, but we don't have any terrible weather.
All right, Monica, sounds good. Can't believe it. New Year's Eve. Commute expected to be pretty light today, but we'll see how it shapes up. Right now, I'm watching 42 in South Jersey. Reports of a broken down vehicle. So yeah, it's a cold morning out there on the northbound side. That's on the ramp to College Drive. So be careful as you're heading out right now on 42 northbound, not impacting that travel time as you are heading up from the AC Expressway, making your way towards Philadelphia. That's about 6 minutes. We've got speeds in the mid 60s. So the ramp, again, not a major impact on the roadway itself. If you're in Chester County, reports of a downed tree. So still from yesterday, we've got some trees that are down. The wind, of course, was real bad. So Phoenixville Pike, that is shut down between Yellow Springs Road and Spring Mill Drive as they work to clean that up. Monica, heading out the door, watching some problems right now in Montgomery County. So crash out there on 309, making most of the roadway. So one lane of traffic is sort of snaking through the cleanup from this accident scene. Looks to be pretty involved right now. So delays on the northbound side for Route 309. If you are heading towards the Pennsylvania Turnpike, this could impact that morning commute. Elsewhere in South Jersey, 42 reports of a broken down car heading northbound on the exit ramp to College Drive. So getting off of 42, you might see some delays, but right now it's about 5 minutes on the actual route here heading towards Philadelphia, towards the Ben Franklin or the Walt Whitman bridges up from the Atlantic City Expressway. Deja, over to you.
Roadways, good morning.
Monica, heading out the door 42, I was watching a broken down car. So yes, it's pretty cold out there this morning. Can be expected to see some vehicles stalling on us. That was happening on the northbound side here, right by College Drive. The exit ramp was partially blocked. That has since cleared. So they were able to get that off the roadway pretty quickly. Bigger problems in Montgomery County. Here we are on Route 309, the northbound side at Easton Road. Looks like at this point, all traffic is stopped surrounding an early morning crash. They were allowing at least one lane to weave through the cleanup, but now I'm not seeing any movement. So if you're heading out soon for 309 northbound in this area before the Pennsylvania Turnpike, I would expect to see delays. I'll send it back to you,
Jenna.
Monica, dark look here of the Ben Franklin Parkway. Of course, we've got the concert and we've got the fireworks tonight, so a lot of closures surrounding the art museum. Most of those really kick in by 8 a.m. this morning, so I would not suggest traveling here in the Fairmount section. Looks like traffic in front of the art museum is still able to get by, but Eakins Oval pretty soon here, maybe in about 2 hours, is going to shut down. We'll also see the Ben Franklin Parkway inner and outer lanes impacted. A ton of no parking signs, so all the sorts of closures we see when there's an event happening there around Eakins Oval. Now elsewhere, Route 309 northbound side just reopened by Easton Road for an early morning crash. It was closed for a little while, so now there's some heavy delays that are moving through, showing about 10 minutes, but I think it's a bit heavier than that as you're coming up from Cheltenham Avenue. Deja, over to
traffic. Thankfully, I don't think we'll see any inclement weather at that point. Hey, you got the Parkway there?
I won't see midnight either, so.
Okay. You will not see midnight either.
I will not see midnight either. Look, I'm happy. I'm excited for 2026, but I will be fast asleep. Let's get you to the Parkway right now, give you a live look outside as, of course, setup is underway for all the fun that's expected there later this evening. In about 2 hours, that's when our closures really go into full effect here. About 8 a.m., we'll see closures around Eakins Oval. We'll see inner and outer lanes closed for the Ben Franklin Parkway. So if you are traveling this morning, I would suggest just avoiding the Art Museum at all costs here as they're really getting things ready for later. 309 northbound looks a whole lot better after an early morning crash by Easton Road was closing all of our lanes, and at one point traffic was getting real bad behind this with the closure. Now once it cleared, we are back to 6 minutes from Cheltenham Avenue heading towards the Pennsylvania Turnpike, but please, there's still a presence there. They are off to the shoulder, so just take your time as you're working through that area. It's still pretty dark out there. If you're in Chester County, down tree on Phoenixville Pike. So that was the theme yesterday with the high winds still causing an impact for the New Year's Eve commute. That's on Phoenixville Pike again between Yellow Springs Road and Spring Mill Drive. All lanes are blocked, and south of that into Delaware, Smithbridge Road is closed because of a downed tree between Route 100 and Brandywine Creek Road. Alyssa, over to you. Monica, heading out the door, it's pretty quiet out there. Ben Franklin Bridge is looking good, heading towards Philadelphia. Of course, the Ben Franklin Parkway is very busy as setup is underway for the festivities later this evening. Full-on closures don't go into effect until about 8 a.m. So we've got a couple hours here, hour and a half maybe now at this point, until the Eakins Oval, the inner and outer lanes of the Ben Franklin Parkway, Spring Garden Street, Pennsylvania Avenue, all the roadways that normally close when we've got big events around the Ben Franklin Parkway completely shut down. Also, the no parking signs if you live in Fairmount. I know those are annoying, but make sure you pay attention to them as your car definitely will be towed for that setup. Now, elsewhere on the roadways, Montgomery County was awfully busy this morning on 309. There was a big northbound crash here at Easton Road that was closing all lanes. Then there was some activity off to the shoulder. All of that is cleared, heading towards the Pennsylvania Turnpike. All lanes are open. Deja, over to you. Heading out the door, 95 is looking good right now over the Girard Point Bridge. Not a whole lot happening on the roadways, of course, which can be expected. I did check in if you are traveling towards Philadelphia International Airport over the Girard Point Bridge. At this point, there's about 12 delays and only 3 cancellations. So it's pretty quiet if you look at it that way coming out of Philly International. I was looking at some long-term construction to see if there's any updates in terms of things that are expected to reopen. A lot of times when construction projects pop up throughout the year, they'll give that expiration date by the end of the year. And it looks like here, Commodore Barry Bridge westbound, this is expected to be completed by today. Might have to change that timeline, but possibly 2 of those right lanes will be back open. Again, that was expected to be done by New Year's Eve, which is today. So we'll have to see if we enter 2026 with some of that work happening over the Commodore Barry. Ben Franklin Parkway, nice and dark right now, but in about an hour and a half here, closures will continue to pop up. Traffic is still moving around Eakins Oval. You can see some of those headlights here circling right by the Art Museum, but Eakins Oval, as well as the Ben Franklin Parkway, inner and outer lanes, Spring Garden Street, Pennsylvania Avenue, all the big roadways around the Art Museum, they will shut down as 8 o'clock approaches and we get ready for later on. Phoenixville Pike, we've got a down utility pole in Chester County. That's impacting the roadway here between Yellow Springs Road and Spring Mill Drive. So try to avoid that as they're working on some of those repairs. And if you're in Delaware, it's Smithbridge Road. That's closed with a down tree between Route 100 and Brandywine Creek Road. I'll send it back to you.
Hey, Jenna.
Monica, heading out the door, Ben Franklin Parkway is, of course, busy with setup for everything that's going to be happening later on. So if you are traveling near the Art Museum, not suggested this morning. We've got the full-on closures hitting at 8 a.m. So about an hour or so before traffic around the Art Museum will not be able to be moving there in front of the steps. So Eakins Oval, that means that's going to shut down. Ben Franklin Parkway, inner, outer lanes, outbound, inbound, Spring Garden Street, Pennsylvania Avenue, all the roadways like that. Shutting down again, that is at 8 a.m. Otherwise, it's a quiet morning commute. We were expecting that. Schuylkill Expressway, about 12 minutes eastbound and westbound between the Vine and the Blue Route. 95 is also looking good if you are coming into Philadelphia. Southbound, about 14 minutes from Woodhaven Road to the Vine. Northbound at 12 minutes. So all the majors not seeing any problems right now. Blue Route and the Vine included in that. Very, very quiet. Now in South Jersey, Sicklerville Road is shut down for some repairs from an earlier crash. That's right by Garwood Road. Alyssa, over to you.
All right, Jenna, thank you.